Hi, Marty. I'm the real Marty Levinson. Keep on cutting.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet hope, Chicago. 2 is 4, 4 4 6. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on, honey, don't you?
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with Sonny Hirsch, our cameraman, and the greatest host around, Sonny Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine. A presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. I keep wanting to say he's the entire technical crew, but I got to get a new shtick for the beginning of the show. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Dial us up on the web, ntnm.org. We're going to have a whole bunch of different interesting guests coming up. Not all of them will be political, but of course there's always got to be some politics or it's no fun. Community policing in our neighborhood has changed, and there's going to be even more changes we don't even know about yet. Because apparently the new commissioner is talking about community policing again, or the new, whatever his name, the new grand poop of the police department. I forget what the title is. But in any event, all the meetings for West Rogers Park are now on the second Thursday of the month. 2411, which is Pratt to Howard, Casita Ridge, meets at 5 o'clock on the second Thursday. At 6 o'clock, then go to 2412, that's Devon to Pratt, Casita Ridge. I chair the meetings, so you can go Facebook me or whatever else, or punch me in the face, whatever you like. But anyway, that's Pratt to Devon, Casita Ridge. And of course, then there's Sonny Hirsch, who chairs the southern end, 2413. That's from Devon to Peterson, Casita Ridge. Come to the meetings, find out where crime is, and find out where you need to commit crimes in order to make this the kind of neighborhood you'd like to make, well, whatever. It is a pleasure and a privilege to have the star of the most watched show in the history of the Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, not to mention the third most watched show, and hopefully he will get some interesting tour for us, maybe the bottom of a sludge pit, at some point this summer, you know, where we can go explore where no man has gone before. And that, of course, is the president of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, Terry O'Brien.
Thanks for having me on, Marty.
First of all,
You know, Marty's part of your technical crew also.
Marty is an important
He
part
runs
of the
those
technical
clippers
crew.
and the scissors that makes you look good for your viewers. So, you know, don't leave him out of the
No, I
out of the
can't-
picture.
Don't want to leave him out of the picture. Oh, and I didn't even realize we didn't wish him a proper. We're filming 6 days after his birthday, but you know his
Belated
birthday
happy
was
birthday.
such a big deal that they made a national holiday of it in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
So, although I understand it's really more of a holiday here than in Mexico.
Yeah. Was it a big birthday or
Oh
just
no, it
another
wasn't.
number?
No, it was just another number.
There you go.
It was just another number, like the
As
kind
Hawk
on
Harrelson say, another crooked number down the board, right? Yeah, no.
Well, Marty's a straight and narrow all the way. Yeah. Okay, so you know what? There's always stuff going on with water reclamation. We touched some last year about the whole sanitizing the water idea, and you were explaining to us that you're doing a scientific survey. Then an article comes up in the Chicago Tribune, and some people who I actually respect were talking about what a great environmental writer this guy is and all the rest of it. And when I was reading the article, basically, my strong feeling was, having interviewed often enough and having talked to officials within the district on many occasions and being more familiar and actually having seen some of this stuff firsthand, that this guy didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
Well, Avi, you can always write something to, favor your opinion of a particular matter or engineering item or whatever. And like you said, the whole story was not told in relationship to the tunnel and reservoir plan that's been under construction since 1976. And the fact being is that it has helped the water environment throughout the county. Just look at downtown. I mean, look at the waterway system throughout the county. people are migrating to that water system, whether it's development, whether it's canoeing, kayaking. They want to get to the point where they can swim in the river.
Well, you know what? I remember when I was trying to figure out where I was actually going to go to college, I took 2 classes over at Central Y. And I had a teacher, it was an English 101 class. The guy's father was Joe Woods, who was the sheriff of Cook County. Yeah. Okay, his kid was very hippie-ish. And Central Y was right on Wacker Drive. I don't even know if it still exists or what the deal is there. But in any event, he took us down to the river for the classes. It smelled. It was ugly. It was an interesting color, and not the St. Patrick's Day parade color.
No. I mean, I grew up on the North Shore Channel, at Bryn Mawr and the North Shore Channel, right where the new Northside Academy Prep is at. And, you know, I mean, after a rainstorm, you know, you would count the Chicago white bass going down the river. I mean, that's, you know, what materials we were seeing floating in the river from the combined sewer system.
I got the white bass.
Okay, not Asian carp. So, you know, and until we put the first leg of the tunnel online in 1985, yeah, there was a lot of concerns with regards to the pollutants emptying into the Chicago River and the Chicago area waterway system. Because the city of Chicago and 52 of the older communities only have one sewer, that same sewer that takes the wastewater from people's homes and industry also takes rainwater. And when that system becomes taxed with an abundance of water, it has to go somewhere. Sometimes it ends up in people's basements, sometimes it ends up in the rivers and streams, sometimes it floods the streets and backyards, but it's got to go somewhere. And there are 200 different ideas that were evaluated by the state of Illinois, Cook County, City of Chicago, and the Water Reclamation District on how to resolve this problem of polluting the inland waterway system throughout the Chicagoland area. The most cost-effective means of doing this was constructing the tunnel and reservoir plan. Now, as you well know, Avi, you've been down there, we've got 109 miles of tunnel. They're all completed. We have 2.6 billion gallons in storage capacity. That's all we've got right now. 1 inch of rain throughout the county is 15 billion gallons.
So you're talking about 1/6 of an inch of rain.
Exactly.
Which is not...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and until we get these reservoirs online, the 2 major reservoirs, which will give us another 18 billion gallons in storage, you know, we're going to be faced with some of these events where we have to release to the inland waterway system, where sometimes we might have to release to the lakefront. But what is never brought out in the period of time since the first leg went online in 1985, we've had 24 releases to the lake. And they don't talk about the 9,111 days that we haven't released to the lake or to the river system.
So you're talking since what year?
Since 1985, when the first leg of the tunnel went online.
So we're talking about 26 years.
Yeah.
We're talking about 9,111 days. And of those 9,111 days, only 24 days.
24 days.
Water has been released.
And we've had some unusual storms. I mean,
which are more usual these days.
Exactly.
But they weren't before.
And who knows? It's, you know, things are cyclical. You know, we don't know, you know, because of whatever, you know, we're getting a lot of these rain events in isolated areas, which are causing people problems.
Yeah, you're talking about, we've had several 4-inch rainfalls.
Yeah.
Now, 4 inches of rain would be 60 billion gallons.
Well, we had, in September of 2008, we had a weekend where we had 9 inches of rain that dropped on the county. In 2010, in September, or no, last year, 2010 July, we had another storm that dropped an average of 7 inches, well, 6 inches around the county, but 7 through the center of the county. And that's when we had those suburban communities that all went underwater,
right?
Such as the Westchesters, the Western Springs, and things of that nature. And then, what was it, last September, it was the wettest month in history. Just a month ago, in April, was the wettest April ever in history. But
yeah,
unfortunately, we didn't have to do any releases to the lake.
Well, no, because you do definitely have an infrastructure there. From my standpoint, I think I'm hoping that you know, my garden's going to do great as a result. And I think besides we're trying to raise wild gefilte in the sanitary canal, we're going to try to grow some this year.
There you go. But anyhow, you know, I mean, and he doesn't allude to the fact that, you know, what we're capturing or what's ending up in the inland waterway system is about 95% stormwater. I mean, the more concentrated raw sewage during a storm is actually captured in the tunnel when that rain flushes that water into the tunnel at the capacity of 2.6 billion gallons.
Is that because it's heavier? Or?
Well, no, it's because you're flushing out a system that's carrying strictly wastewater at the time a rain event starts.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, that's what's happening. So it's just flushing that system out, and that material is ending up in the tunnel, which then goes through the proper treatment that we put our dry weather flows through at one of our 7 wastewater treatment facilities. So, we're right now in the process of obtaining our NPDES permits. That's National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permits for our 3 older facilities, Calumet, North Shore, our North Side, and our Stickney plant. And this is, part of the thing that everybody's harping on with regards to, when's this tunnel going to be finished? Well, we can only move as fast as the money comes in from Washington and as fast as the quarry operators can mine this and get it into the marketplace. And we know the market is not very positive nowadays with the economy being the way it is.
Yeah, one of the shows we did that we need to redo is we actually were showing.
The quarry.
Yeah, it's like you got to see this. It's like they blast in the tunnel, kaboom, and then all these pebbles, become cement and stuff from Material Services. There were like the day we were there were over 100 trucks every day that were taken out.
Yeah, the one quarry we were in was the West Lobe, which is our transitional reservoir out on the Thornton quarry. Yeah. I mean, that's where you took the footage.
Right, and people don't realize also that this is really very inexpensive for you because, Material Services is busy building the quarry for you while they're getting the rock out of it.
They're mining the rock and then utilizing that in the construction market, but we all know what the construction market's like today. Nobody's doing anything. So they can't move that product, and they can't let the product just sit there because it degrades for whatever reason, with the elements that are hitting it and stuff like that. So we got to wait, on their schedule, as well as making sure that we have the revenue coming in from Washington to continue on with the project.
Now, one of the things I didn't realize until I read your letter, I kind of knew this a little bit, but basically, originally, Washington was supposed to spend most of the money for this.
The funding was coming from 2 sources for the 2 phases of the project. As I said, it's a tunnel and a reservoir project. The tunnel portion was supposed to receive 75% of the funding from the U.S. EPA when they had earmarks and when they had appropriations. They got away from that. We probably ended up picking up 50% of the tab rather than 25%, which we were supposed to do.
So once again, the federal government has stuck it to local.
And now we're in the reservoir phase of the project, and we seem to be staying on course with regards to revenue, but that's becoming difficult to get now too because of what's going on in Washington. We're looking for $61 million in this year's budget. We may only end up with 40. That's $21 million that sets us back on the schedule. If we don't get that additional $21 million to make it $61 million.
And you're not exactly big on raising people's taxes either.
No. We have to sometimes, for the mere fact that, one, we took on an additional responsibility that the county had in 2004, and that was stormwater management. But when we took that responsibility on, you didn't see the county lower their taxes. Their taxes remained the same. So
no, that's definitely a good point. Now, the same reporter, the environmental guy in the Tribune, I can't think of his name offhand, but in that story, I noticed his brilliant interview of you. He quoted from a television commercial. He didn't even talk to you. What a great research guy this is.
In fairness to him, he did call me on a Friday afternoon, and I was down picking my daughter up.
Now, is this the Friday before the Sunday story? Or actually, that story broke on a Saturday. If it's a Sunday story.
Sunday's paper.
Because the Sunday paper is always like, I know it actually, the Sunday paper is like available Saturday.
Yeah. And how long was he writing this article? Who knows? He could have had all that time to call me and ask me for a response.
The truth of the matter is that article, he did a lot of research. He obviously worked for days, if not a few weeks on it.
He did a lot of research, but then he sat down with our staff because half the figures and numbers he had down were all messed up. So our staff sat with him and met with him for a couple hours just to get the facts straight when he was presenting, the way he wanted to present his article. So, it wasn't that we neglected him. We gave him that information.
Yeah, and then all the...
And part of my commercial was basically our responsibility is to protect Lake Michigan. which is the statutory authority that we were given to
But
collect, treat, and dispose of wastewater.
True, but somehow I don't think quoting a TV commercial is an in-depth
Well,
interview.
I
I could be mistaken.
there might have been a subliminal message there that maybe I wouldn't call him back. So instead of saying no comment, here's his comment from the commercial.
Well, he always could have called. Well, no, I'm not ripping the guy up again. But the campaign. Never mind. So in any event, but you know what? Another thing too, and we talked about this some on the air, is the whole issue. And even the new mayor has talked about it unknowledgeably. Sorry, Ron. About the idea of sanitary. I'm not putting this
Disinfection.
Right. Disinfection. So what is disinfection?
All right. What they want us to do is basically use some type of technology. Normally, disinfection used to be chlorinating the water.
Yeah.
Similar to what the city does. They add chlorine to the water and fluoride to the water when it comes into the filtration plant before it goes into the pipes to your homes and to residences. They want us to do that same type of treatment of our effluent leaving our treatment facilities.
Now, effluent is interesting liquids.
Yes. Well, it's treated liquids, which, again, they're alluding to the fact that we're not following the Clean Water Act, but for some reason we meet our MPDS permit requirements. Yeah. And those MPDS permit requirements are set up by the US EPA. So,
and not to mention you probably exceed them, and not to mention the fact that surveys have shown that we have the second cleanest drinking water of any city in the nation.
Exactly, and look what has happened to that inland waterway system. Nobody says anything. Everybody's worried that, well, we want to swim in that river. But let me tell you, I mean, and again, it's been an emotional issue, and the emotion should go away, and the science should be the thing that dictates whether this needs to be done.
Yeah, first of all, if you want to swim in the Chicago Sanitary Ship Canal, what happens when you take one step offshore?
You fall right to the depths of the river.
Which is about 10, 11 feet.
Yeah.
There's no slant.
No way to get in or out.
It was
you
dug by man.
Worried about boat traffic. It was dug by man for a purpose of conveying water and providing shipping to the industry that was along the Chicago area waterway system.
So if you cramp up and you can't get to shore, bang.
Well, there's nowhere to get out when you get to shore.
Yeah.
There's not ladders every 10 feet along the waterway system throughout the Chicago area waterway system. So, I mean,
by the way, go to YouTube and check our trip down the North Shore Ship and Sanitary Canal.
Well, and the other realization that people don't, and the Corps has alluded to it, is that the sediment at the bottom of the river, it contains heavy metals, it contains organics, it contains PCBs. Anytime a large vessel goes down that river, you know what it does? It stirs up that muck on the bottom of the river. So what impact is that going to have on the disinfection that's taking place at the treatment facilities? And it's basically defeating our purpose. I mean, if everybody's so concerned about wanting to swim in the river, then maybe we should look at first dredging the bottom of the river. And the newspaper that wrote the article, they should know what's in the bottom of the river, because when they built their Freedom Center down there, they were going to dredge the bottom of the river so that they could bring the paper in by barge. And when they found out what was in the dredgings, I think they stopped. Now, I'm not for certain on that, but I know because in my other life, I bid on that project.
Yeah.
And part of bidding on that project was having the analysis of what was in that material and where it could go and where it could be deposited safely in a secure landfill.
Yeah, by the way, one of the things I'll say is I do think they've made some use of the dredge, because I read it on the editorial page quite frequently.
I'm not going there.
I don't subscribe to you, Chicago Tribune.
But
wouldn't give you a nickel.
But that's the thing. And if you want to bash us, but lay the facts out and lay them out accurately. Don't slant them towards how you want your readers to, or what your thought and process is, and trying to push your agenda along.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is, there's a dollar figure out on what it's going to cost to disinfect. And, we've done our studies. Nobody else, I don't think, has done any studies. At least I'm not aware of any, even the agencies. They're throwing numbers out. Well, this is all it's going to cost. Well, how do you know that's all it's going to cost? I mean, we've got figures anywhere from $750 million to $1 billion to add this technology in our 3 older facilities.
So that's the initial cost.
That's the initial cost.
Adding just $750 million to $1 billion just to get the equipment.
And they're coming out with these figures. Well, it's only going to be $2, $3 a household. I said, hey, you're not even looking at the aspect of what it's going to cost to maintain and operate that now over the years, because you're going to look at another $20 to $30 million on top of our budget to maintain and operate that system. So, let's lay all the facts out. So the taxpayer who you want to foot the bill for this particular technology, they know what they're going to be paying for.
Yeah, by the way, of course, these are the same people that endorsed and championed Blagojevich. So, of course, we know they're always right. But in any event, we're talking... So
Are you all right, Marty?
Hey, Marty. But no, I mean, you know what? It's like they're not looking into it. The cost, you're talking about, I forget the figure you gave me. You were talking about it being something like am I getting the figure right? About $600 million over the course of the first few years, something like that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, $600 million to $1 billion is, depending on what technology we decide on, is what the figure is going to be.
Right, and that is, and what good will it do? I mean, in other words, is it gonna make life a lot better?
Well, from what we've done and the studies that we've completed, we've done a study with the School of Public Health, University of Illinois.
That
was an
completed now,
epidemiology study, yes. That's being presented to the Illinois Pollution Control Board. We've done that unscientific study on the sampling of the waterway system, where I told you we did dry weather sampling and we did wet weather sampling. And then there was aquatic life study that was done. I think it might have been done by Marquette, I'm not sure. But we had numerous studies done. Now, we've got a lot of these environmental groups coming to us, and one of the things when we had a committee hearing on this, one of the things I asked each and every one of their committees or groups was that, do you have any data or any scientific research that you've done that you can provide us so we can further evaluate the process of needing to do disinfection? Not one of them. Not one of them. I mean, and so we're like, well, how's your judgment being made? Because some other city does it. We have to do it. Well, we're not like every city. Whether it's streets, whether it's sewers, whether it's a sky, our city's different than a lot of other cities.
Yeah,
a lot of other cities empty into potable water. We don't. We go downstream. So, I mean, there's reasons why they have to and why they do. I mean, perfect example, Milwaukee, was it in the 80s? They had a parasite from runoff where 100,000 people got sick.
Ooh.
So, I mean, they flow out to the lake. So there's reasons why they've got to, disinfect, or why they've got to chlorinate or ultraviolet, whatever they're using technology.
Right. Well, some of these people are basically praying at the Church of Green, and they don't even know exactly what green is. No. So, and by the way, when I say that, understand that I don't have a car. I don't even have I walk everywhere. I recycle the whole shot. I'm all in favor of this good stuff. But some people get a little bit carried away without realizing that there are facts involved in a given situation.
And we've been the greenest agency in this area for 122 years.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that you've been pushing rain barrels. And,
new technology. We got electric cars in our facilities. First public agency to make a major purpose of electric vehicles to run in our facilities.
Oh, I didn't know that.
30 good. Of them.
Very good. So
the batteries are costly to replace, though. That's the downfall.
That I hear you. Well, it's not cheap. This as stuff grows, at least hopefully there'll be more of that stuff as time goes.
Yeah, and another thing. I mean, there's another issue out there with phosphorus and nutrient removals from the water supply, and part of that article I think it touched upon that our pollution is going down in the Gulf of Mexico and creating algae problems and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you something, folks. The phosphorus that we empty into the Chicago area waterway system that ends up in the Gulf of Mexico is not even close to what comes off farmlands down those rivers and streams.
Oh, yeah, people don't even realize stuff like that. I mean, what they put in there, because speaking of organic and green, I have a pesticide-free vegetable garden. I hate the word organic because basically somebody paid Congress to define organic the way they define it. And
are you selling your products to the organic food stores?
Chain? What? I actually used to actually trade in two of my products. I used to take my basil to one of the local kosher fish places, and he used to give me free fish sandwiches as a result. And then I took another large amount of basil. This was more productive over to a pub on Ravenswood for free pitchers.
Did you take your technical crew with you?
No, well, actually, no, I didn't know the technical crew at the time. We're talking ancient history here, but I would have been happy to. But you know what? The point is that the stuff that you even the stuff that's innocent that you see in TV commercials, if you were talking about like having a large amount of that stuff on like a few hundred acres, and that stuff spilling in, I mean, they make explosives out of fertilizer.
Well, and from the phosphorus standpoint, we're one of the, well, probably the lead agency in pushing that the state pass a law to ban it in liquid laundry detergents and dishwashing detergents.
No, which
the
I think
city had it with the laundry detergents back in the 70s, but it was never enforced. So, I mean, that law went into effect in July of 2010. We actually pushed it in 2008, but to come up with an agreement with the soap companies, they asked us if we could wait till 2010 because they had to change some of their formulations because I think the state of Michigan and the state of Washington were going the route of doing away with phosphorus in their products. So, but it worked out, and we were able to get that resolved, and that bill was passed.
No, that's terrific. So. But the fact is, people don't. It's like do some studying. I mean, there's a lot of good facts here that need to be learned.
Yeah.
And there are very like this isn't a court. This isn't like that BP or whatever it was that was trying to dump the sludge into Lake Michigan and Indiana and all that. These guys are trying to clean things up.
Well, and Avi, we're not trying to not have to do it. If the science dictates that we need to do it, we're going to do it. But let science dictate that. Not a lawyer's not going to dictate it. A doctor's not going to dictate it. I said you need the scientists, the chemists, the biologists, the engineers. Let them make that decision.
Yeah, let's understand too that this is actually a government agency who could get more workers, more money, more power. That's saying we don't want to spend like $1 billion of your money, and they're not saying not.
It's not there.
Yeah.
Even if it was there, I don't think we'd be looking at it very cautiously to make we would be doing the same studies because everything that we do has to have a benefit.
Yeah. This isn't exactly a tax and spend agency.
No. And that's why we're not in bad a shape as a lot of the other agencies are.
No, that's true. You've actually rebated money on more than one occasion to the, in other words, the taxes you collected were more than sufficient and you ran a tight enough budget.
Well, and we've got interest earned on those monies, investments, and we had settled some big cases, so we had extra revenue that we decided, we should give back to the taxpayers rather than keep for our operations. We also got AAA bond rating with the bond rating agencies.
No, that also helps. And I love when people start another paper, this is all politics, and when I watch the Chicago Week in Review with Joe Reisman, sometimes I realize what kind of idiots some of these TV reporters are.
I'm waiting to see you on there, Avi. Joel, get him on.
I'd love to be on there, but I think I'd cause a lot of problems for the other reporters there because I'm not going to let them take their word verbatim.
Isn't it all about debate?
I'd be happy to debate, but these guys are busy knocking the fiscal policy of the only AAA bond government agency. It's kind of absurd, don't you think?
Well, and the other thing when you were talking about abatement, people are saying, "Well, yeah, you're abating because you over budgeted." I'm like, no. I'm just like, you can't over budget. You can't show a profit. So it is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, before you want to disinfect and all the rest of it, I guess you could use Lysol, but bleach. Bleach works too. It might eat your pipes, but it works nicely.
That's your chlorine. That's what they used to do.
For sure. Anyway, we want to. I didn't say hi, Kathleen. That was a necessary requirement of just about any time you're on the air. And I want to say hi to. First of all, thank you so much for being here, Terry O'Brien.
Thank you,
President
Abby.
of the Metropolitan Water and Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. Thanks to my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. If people would like to contact your agency, they just blush.
Yeah. Send it flying with O'Brien. 312-751-5700.
312-751-5700. Terry O'Brien, thank you very much.
Thank you, Avi. It's
my
a pleasure.
pleasure. Thank you.